Welcome to the MAGA Meltdown, the show where we break down the craziest and funniest news stories of the last week in the MAGA movement. My name is AG, and I'll be your host. Let's get right to it. So, of course, this week's biggest story has been Donald Trump's New York hush money trial. And all of the players have been there this week to cover the crazy-ass things that the people believe inside the courtroom and outside the courtroom. And our boy Jordan Klepper was there to check out and talk to this crazy-ass lady about what she was doing last time that there was a Trump gathering.
Today, the January 6th of April 15th?
No. What January? I was there January 6th.
Yes.
I was there.
Where were you? Inside the rotunda? Are you in the office? Were you holding a podium? Where were you?
It was breached before we even got there. Because
Is that why you're here early today, just to make sure you get that first wave?
well, I have done pretty. Go back and watch America's Most Wanted. I made a grand appearance there when somebody said we got what we deserved.
God bless, I'll set my TiVo.
Trump supporters, if anything, are the biggest self-snitches. And telling on yourself about being at January 6th is bad enough, but then you're going to go ahead and drop something like you were on America's Most Wanted as well. Probably something you want to keep to yourself. But you know what? I'm not trying to mess with Grandma. Grandma looks like she might just shank a motherfucker, so we'll let that one go. And of course, even though there wasn't as many Trump supporters as there usually is at these crazy-ass rallies, they did have some stars. A famous son of a famous mayor was there, and Jordan Klepper talked to him.
Yeah, I was in Washington, D.C. on January 6th as well. I was with President Trump.
Sure.
I remember him talking about peacefully protesting.
Some people were talking about peaceful protests. Some people also on January 6th were talking about trial by combat.
Let's have trial by combat.
Do you know anybody who was talking about that?
Oh, look, I would say that peaceful protest is the most important thing.
No trial by
Stand
combat
up for his
today.
First Amendment
No
rights.
trial by combat.
Do you guys even care what's going on inside the courtroom or not?
It's got to be a tough time to be Rudy Giuliani's kid. But trial by combat, I'm going to be honest with you guys. If their champion is Granny McShanka motherfucker, we might be in trouble. But Andrew had a good point. Do we care what's going on inside the courtroom? Do Trump supporters care what's going on inside the courtroom?
Trump cannot get a fair trial in a 90+% Democrat city like New York City.
Where can Trump get a fair trial?
In the Midwest, in Ohio, in Florida.
He's on trial in Florida. He's on trial in Georgia. Will you accept the results of those trials?
No.
No, of course not. These aren't people that are exactly known for being willing to accept the results of anything. But I'll tell you this, the one thing he probably should have said no to was wearing that scarf. You can tell this man isn't married because my wife would have never let me leave the house wearing that thing. Well, lucky for Jordan Klepper, he wasn't the only one there. The good liars were also there, and they were having some very interesting conversations with certain people that had some opinions of Jewish people.
What's the sign say here? What's the sign say here?
Jews versus TikTok.
Can we see it? Can we see it for the camera here? Jews versus TikTok. What does that mean?
Jewish groups are trying to get TikTok banned, and they're using Congress to do it under a false pretense.
You think Jewish people are just getting rid of TikTok? Really?
They're doing their best. Look it up. They admit it. The ADL.
TikTok's gone. It's off the
Yeah,
App Store.
well, that's what you guys
I'm
want.
Jewish.
That's what you guys
Yes!
want.
Feels good.
So,
All right, there you have it.
Google it and read it. Google.
Jews really do control everything.
Ooh, those pesky Jews. Now they're taking down TikTok. Why do Jewish people hate TikTok? I cannot wait to see hashtag Jews versus TikTok go viral. But this wasn't the first time they encountered this guy. They actually had spoken to him once before.
You think Jews control the country?
Yeah, they control the fucking country.
Oh, interesting.
They control Wall Street. They control the banks. They control Hollywood. Every fucking building in New York City is owned by Jews.
Hey,
Look, it's
hey,
so fucking close.
I'm Jewish.
I don't give a fuck.
Hey, you gotta get out of
I ain't
here.
going no
I
fucking
control everything. You gotta go.
I'm not going no fucking way.
You gotta go. I'm Jewish.
Fuck you.
But I control everything,
No,
so
you don't control
you
me,
gotta
fucker.
go. You gotta go.
Movement.
I'm just saying it.
Well, I for one cannot wait to hear this guy's opinion on the Israel-Hamas conflict. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and let's take a live look in. Let's see how Donald Trump's doing inside the courtroom.
Trump appears to be sleeping. His head keeps dropping down and his mouth goes slack. Tell us about that.
Well, Jake, he appeared to be asleep, and repeatedly his head would fall down. There have been other moments in other trials, like the E.G. Carroll trial, which was around the corner in January, where he appeared very still and seemed as if he might be sleeping. But
oh yes, the two-tier justice system at work. The one where a rich white politician can fall asleep in court because he doesn't have to worry about waking up in a jail cell. I'm not really sure how many young black men have fell asleep during their trial, but we should do a study on that. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a real low percentage. It must have been waking up an hour and a half early to make sure you can get a good solid 2 to 3 hours of Twitter in before you went to trial that made him so sleepy. If you want to find out more about Sleepy Dawn and the Long Con, you can check out David Pakman's video as well as many others on the subject. The link to David Pakman's video will be in the description. We're going to go ahead and check out what the Sleepy Dawn guy's doing when he's awake and on his off day from one of his multiple trials that he is supposed to be at.
Gettysburg, what an unbelievable battle that was. The Battle of Gettysburg, what an unbelievable, I mean, it was so much and so interesting and so vicious and horrible and so beautiful in so many different ways. It represented such a big portion of the success of this country. Gettysburg, wow. I go to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to look and to watch. And the statement of Robert E. Lee, who's no longer in favor. Did you ever notice that? No longer in favor. Never fight uphill, me boys. Never fight uphill. They were fighting uphill. He said, wow, that was a big mistake. He lost his great general, and they were fighting. Never fight uphill, me boys. But it was too late.
Gettysburg, wow. There was so much to that rambling ass speech. I don't know if I can even cover it all. But the point that he was saying something about Robert E. Lee no longer being in favor, I'm pretty sure Robert E. Lee fell out of favor, at the point that he started leading, armies in secession against America to help keep slavery instilled in our culture. Pretty sure that might have been, his falling point. But anyways, with all that being said, regardless of all the bad shit that Robert E. Lee did and the fact that he's quite possibly not in favor anymore, what was that accent? What did Robert E. Lee really say? Don't fight uphill? Don't fight uphill, me boys? Like, what the hell was that accent? I'm pretty sure that this is not a historically accurate quote, but whatever. And you knew that Donald Trump couldn't go through a speech without, explaining his victimhood and how everything's against him, but he's the only one standing between you and them.
From now, the entire world will witness the commencement of the very first Biden trial. They're all Biden trials, you know that, right? And I'm proud to do it for you. Have a good time watching. Have a good time watching. On Monday in New York City, I will be forced to sit fully gagged. I'm not allowed to talk. Can you believe it? They want to take away my constitutional right to talk. I have a crooked judge. This has never happened before, by the way. You do know that, right? Fully gagged before a highly conflicted and corrupt judge who suffers from TDS.
Yep, there's that good old two-tier justice system again. The one where you get to travel around the country with 91 felonies and 4 indictments and you're gagged, but you get to give speeches and talk about the judge and the jury and the witnesses and the judge's daughter and pretty much anybody you kind of want to because you feel like it because you have a microphone and a bunch of idiots that are willing to listen to you talk. But I digress. If you would like to see more on Donald Trump's Pennsylvania speech, you can check out Jesse Dollamore's video on it in the description. So you might be asking yourself, what are these guys doing when they're not at a Trump rally? Well, TYT had you covered this week.
Bandus. Now that, believe it or not, took place at a conservative all-men's conference. And when one pastor spoke out against it, he was taken off stage, Cenk.
Damn. Okay. First of all, I did not know that's what was happening in all men's conferences for conservatives.
Different strokes for different folks.
Hey, you want to swallow swords? No problem. You like stripper poles with guys on it? No problem, Republicans.
I like stripper poles with guys on it.
Hey, look, no one's gonna welcome you more than we are.
Look, what a man and a man and another man and a man with a sword and a stripper pole do on their personal time is their business. I'm just saying, this may or may not play into some of the stereotypes about the projection on the right. When a dude swallows a sword, my mind doesn't immediately go to latent homosexuality. The first thing I'm usually thinking is, how did he do that? Why did he do that? Is that safe? Is also where my brain goes. But for some guys, the moment that something that's long, hard, and 36 inches goes into somebody's mouth, they immediately think, wait a minute, is that gay?
And I want to be very careful with this, and it's not what I want to say, but the Jezebel spirit has already been here. The Jezebel spirit opened our event. This is a rebuke and a correction of no one. This is an observation. Before the Word of God was open, there was a platform. It was a high place. On it was a pole, an ashtray. The same thing that's used in a strip club for women who have the Jezebel spirit to seduce men. In front of that was a man who ripped his shirt off like a woman does in front of a pole at a strip club. That man then ascended. See, our God is not arrogant. He doesn't ascend. Our God is humble. He descends. And then he swallowed a sword, and Jesus cried, okay, Pastor John, I'll receive that. Thank you.
First of all, how does that man know what goes on at a strip club? He seems like he has some pretty intimate details as to what exactly happens and in what sequence it happens. Second, isn't this like a men's empowerment thing? Should he really be coming up there right after the sword swallower and chastising the men that are there? Third, most of those men in that crowd look like they're like 60 or 70 years old. They don't know how to be men yet? I think they may have missed their chance. But if this video of the 2023 opening ceremonies is any indicator, I am willing to give this men's conference a shot, because this may be super duper gay, but it also looks super duper awesome. And hey, I'm open to new experiences.
Driven by none other than
Welcome to Idiocracy, folks. Yep, that was amazing, amusing, and left me with so many questions. But if you have any more questions about the sanity of the people that are willing to vote for Donald Trump, you should check out this video, where we talk all about the crazy-ass people that are in the Trump cult. All right, guys, thanks a lot. And remember, get educated and get out and vote.